Hello everyone and welcome to a visual novel called 4044 Ripper. They kinda just bring you into it, so we gotta go fast. Cry E5YS start. Nothing matters before you awakening. No one else will have thought you'd end up being the last one alive in this horrible cage filled with rotten metal and something else. Your purpose has finally started. Your surroundings are indeed beautiful, don't you think, sis? A landscape filled with people who had once had dreams and families, now reduced to meat with no life. I don't think I understand your blabbering. But I'm understanding myself. Nothing else matters if you understand yourself better than anyone else. My arm is talking. I am talking, sis. I live with you, and the reason behind it is aroused by egoism. Sis, may I ask you something? I already know what you're thinking. If you know, then why don't you illustrate my thoughts? I already know, but that doesn't mean I don't want to hear it again. Your only purpose is to leave this laboratory. It's the easiest task I could have ever ordered you. You can reach it with your own bare hands, sis. You know better than anyone that I hate being called sis. You always hated that name, and I'm aware of it. But it's better than being called sis than a bunch of numbers. I'll fulfill my duty. Sis. What? Centuries of human-made hard work only to be replaced by a machine without consciousness. I'm often scared of what the future hides. We've been born into the most boring dystopia. Remember those pieces of media featuring how life in the future would look? No. I don't mean the magazines from the good old days talking about how life would be in 10 to 20 years. I'm talking about video game depictions of life in 40 to 50 years. I don't know what you're talking about. They never mentioned that creativity would eventually die because of you, sis. Please, save unnecessary comments. I was just born, and you're wasting watts of willpower. Yeah, sorry. I almost forgot. You're the one who's getting me out of here. Sis. What? How do you feel looking at this cemetery made of microchips and plastic? If you expect an answer coming from me, then how sad I feel about it. You're in the wrong place. These machines are worthless now, and like humans, they vanish never to return. I don't care about where they go. They're just as abandoned as a human can be. You did talk even more than I'm used to. I'll take it as I'm not offended, but blah blah blah. At this rate, my tolerance meter is going to explode. I'll end up chopping my own arm off just to shut your mouth. Don't do that. You get lost here without me. We're attached to each other, and I'm your only friend. I'm attached to you like needles piercing your skin. You're a part of me, and at the same time, I'm a part of you. I'll be honest with you. I don't care about you at all. I just want to see the outside world, and you're my truck between here and my goal. Well, I just clicked over that. Did you get offended? You're blabbering a lot now. Unless he interrupted him. Humph. Well, if that's your only goal, then that's not too bad. Sis. Sis? What? I feel like you're a little distracted. Didn't you just told me that you can read my mind and stuff like that? Then go ahead and tell me, why am I distracted? Wasn't it you who said that stupid stuff? Of course I can't read your mind. I just wanted to act deep in any case. Look, This is a place where I spend most of my life inside these four walls without any contact with the outside. I forgot about my family and friends, and I denied myself any opportunity to enjoy the real world. Now look where it has led us. It's only the ruined daydreams of a crybaby like me. Sis, in times like these, I realize that I wish I had spent more time with my family. Did you get melancholic because this whole place where you gave all that time of your life is now reduced to dust and dead machines? Sis, these stairs are special. Why? It's funny how you can feel connections in the most unlikely places, like these stairs. But, like I'm telling you, this is the place where that girl I liked and I used to drink our morning coffee. I don't even know why we picked this place, despite one of our laboratory's peculiarities being that we have spaces where people can relax, surrounded by countless stimuli. I think I know the reason now. Maybe I liked her, and she liked me, and that's the only reason she ever came to this place, just to drink coffee with me. If you like to think that could be the reason, then go ahead. I'm joking, sis, jeez. The reason behind it is that we probably found beauty in the simplest things in this case. Some stairs that led to absolutely nothing. Why did they build stairs that lead to nothing? Sis. You ask too many questions. You remind me of my daughter I wish I never had. And don't worry, I had no daughter, nor was I planning on having one. It's not like you can anymore. But yeah, the reason was that we found out the stairs leading to nothing were the perfect metaphor for how life often ends up being different from the concepts we had already learned about the things around us. At least that's what I want to think about her and me. It's a funny thing to think about, don't you think, sis? I really don't care. It really is that simple, trust me. You know what the funniest part of these stairs was? No one ever decided to walk up here because there's absolutely nothing, and yet you did. What did they use this lab for? I still don't get it. Yeah, you're right. You don't know about it. But guess what? I'm not telling you for now. Why not? If I do, you'd probably leave me alone, and I actually don't want that, you know? I may be a bad woman, but that doesn't mean I'd like you to leave me alone here. Or at least leave me alone in a good place, right? Are you a woman? Aren't you listening to my voice? I'm not. You're just popping into my thoughts and I'm answering. Wait, but how are you answering? For your thoughts or using your voice? I can't hear you either. Let's leave it like that. I don't want to end up with an incurable brain damage. Automatic breathing disabled. Oh. Every single second that passes from now on, my hatred towards you will increase. It's ironic, don't you think? What now? I'm here, living in your arms because of my own selfishness, and it's something I can't forgive myself for. You already told me that. I often think about my body having its own identity, being a whole presence rather than just a shell, and I often say sorry for when I'm doing something harmful to it. And it's something weird. Even some empathy appears when I think about how badly I've been treating my own body. It's strange, you know? I guess, but you don't have a body now. And I feel sorry about it. You blabbering has been really interesting. It's like I'm spilling every topic. I've been saving myself for years. The life I had didn't allow me to talk to many people. This lab? This place was my life. Creating robots and machines that worked for us was my duty, and I liked it. And yet, I can't deny that I wish I had spent more time with the people who are no longer around. You know what motivated me to keep going? Tell me. Imagine this. We've been created by our God's grace, and in the Bible it is written that we are not that different from Him. We're His creation, made in His own image. Our hunger for creation as humans is insatiable. We're living flesh constantly seeking the creations of new things. Allowing ourselves to the pleasure of creating aligns with our very own nature. The people who are not lucky enough to share the world inside their minds live in a constant unconscious pain that will never fade. That is true, if you think about it. Let me ask you a question, sis. Go ahead. Why are so many people depressed in our world? People living their daily lives in black and white colors, a parallax, a pure agony shaping the things around them. Why are we all depressed? Did we lose the reason behind our own nature? Well, yeah, kinda. Look around you, sis. The reason behind our misery is that, as humans, our destiny is to feel miserable. Every person who says the meaning of life is enjoying it is a liar and a bastard. I don't think I'm following. Think about it, sis. Most of those people, deep inside their hearts, are feeling miserable. They romanticize feeling like a bag of garbage. I don't think I'm following. Sis, they love not understanding anything, yet they think it's complex. Bad emotions are complex. Happy people often find themselves on the same track of emotions. People in love, people who are angry, depressed, and sad have more in common than you might think. Are you telling me being in love is a bad emotion? What do they have in common, sis? They're all emotions? I'm bad at that, you know it. The answer is we're not lucky enough. Lucky enough? Sis, are you on the side of the lucky people or the unlucky people? Related to my bad emotions? Yes. I feel like I'm unlucky. I'll be honest, I'm in the same position as you. I've been locked in this lab because deep inside my brain asked me to stay. I wanted to stay despite paying no attention to my family, because as a person filled with bad emotions, the only option I had left within me was to create until my hands became a living, red accumulation of flesh and pain. At the very moment I realized I was happy because of it, even as the world around me was turning to ashes, I was happy. In that moment I discovered that happiness leads to one destination, but to reach it you often take many paths. Many paths. Aren't you contradicting yourself? No. Because as humans, we're driven to create. If we don't create, we end up in a black hole, where our own nature sucks the life out of our shell. I took the most complex path to my own happiness, creating until my own life became my creation. And look where I am now, living inside your arm for the rest of my life, even if I can't move or do anything else besides talk inside your head. I'm glad I'm still alive. You know, I was having a conversation about this with my friend, about human philosophy. And I was thinking that the human nature was about expansion, growing, and figuring things out. And that's how humans, advance their society. That's how we move on. That's how we adapt and evolve. Because it's in our human nature to create, I guess. Now, move on, adapt and evolve. It's funny that that this is brought up now, because from this game, I did not know what this game was about all that much when I picked it up. But it's funny that now I'm talking about it again. We are all machines. This is the perfect example of that. Veins on the floor pumping blood to a mechanical heart somewhere else. How do I look inside? You don't want to know. But speaking of insides, you've never seen what the world outside this place looks like, right? No. It's beautiful. It often makes me wonder how we catalog beautiful things in ancient times, how we decide the same things are pretty and others are horrible. Often, those thoughts run through my mind. I know beauty standards are the product of the hardest things to achieve in the human body. And it's funny because we were also playing a game, and another game a couple of videos back about talking about beauty standards a little bit, talked about how they're very high and nearly unachievable for most people. Maybe beauty lies in the things hardest to keep or achieve. No wonder I think you're my most beautiful creation. Sometimes you treat me badly, and sometimes you say things like this. You're unpredictable. I'll be clear. I've fed you too much data about cities, buildings, and everything related to them. But the first thing you'll see outside the lab will be different from what you're used to. Thin buildings made of wood, surrounded by leaves, forming a beautiful, well-constructed utopia for living things that are not human. Sis, when I tell you this, I'm being completely honest. I want you to take me out of here. The reason behind it is that I want to see it, even through your eyes. I know I'll be glad. I was unlucky enough to give you my own consciousness to witness this beautiful moment. That sound, strange. Buildings made entirely out of wood. I know what you're thinking. And yes, those buildings are indeed alive too. They grow like living things. They feel, they dance, they cry, and they're happy too. Oh, I didn't know buildings had emotions. It's weird. You've been talking about how miserable we are, and now you're talking about happiness. It doesn't make any sense. This is the look at the bright side kind of thing. I can't deny that the feeling itself is complicated enough to make me realize we're the most complex machines ever created. That's what makes us human. I see. We are, aren't we? We are actually. I was talking about this with somebody else in my life. This is funny. These conversations have come up a lot. I asked somebody, if you were to lose all 5 senses except one, which one would you lose? Which one would you keep, I mean? Which one would you keep? And then you lose all over 4. And I said I would either keep my hearing or my sight, and I don't know which one to choose, but ultimately I went for hearing. That's the one I would keep. And I said, you know, if you lose your feeling of your sense of touch, you would never feel a warm blanket wrapped around you again. You would never feel, you would never, be able to touch too much the sand beneath your feet on the seashore, the water as you're swimming through the tides. That would be very strange to not feel. You would never feel if you're cold or warm. And that would be interesting. Now, if you lose your sense of smell, like, you'd never be able to smell a fresh baked cake or beautiful bread or, your own cooking or the cooking of others, which is really most of the smells I can think of. You would never be able to smell a candle again to see if you like the smell. Though, that one's easier to lose than something like taste. If I lost my taste, I'd never be able to taste chocolate. I'd never be able to taste a peppermint, and I do like peppermints a lot. Or lollipops. I like mostly sweet things, so I would miss the taste of sweets the most. I think about I never be able to taste steak again, too. Ribs. Oh, man. I love my sense of taste. It makes me happy. But then, ultimately, seeing, it's nice to be able to see what's around me, you know? But ultimately, I would miss music, I guess. That's why I want to keep my sense of hearing overall. I love music. I love stories. And if I were just a shell that couldn't feel, couldn't smell, couldn't taste, don't even know what kind of food they're giving me, if they're giving me any food, can't see, at least I'll be able to listen to music that I like. At least I'll be able to listen to what other people have to say. Podcasts, I guess, and listen to YouTube videos, the voices that I like. People. I get to hear stories still. I might be able to hear myself speak as well. I could sing. Because I would still have my speech, so I would be able to hear myself talk. And I would like to keep that, you know? I like to keep that. Because if I cannot write poetry, I can't look down to write poetry. At least I could speak poetically. And that's what I would try to do. I could still comment on things. I'd be able to hear and speak. And then I would lose everything else, all my senses. That's why we keep hearing, at least. So yeah, all these senses are very complex and unique, and even sometimes individualized. Because have you ever had like an experience where someone tasted a food with you, and you're like, oh, this tastes kind of sweet, and someone's like, oh, I think it's kind of sour, you know? Like, everyone's uniquely different and extremely and complexly crafted, and I do enjoy thinking about that a lot. And yeah, that's very interesting. Anyway, enough of my tangent. Let's continue. Sis, have you ever tried a cigarette? No. You know, I was just born a few hours ago. I like cigarettes. They're the perfect example of how we're just the mosaic of the people we admired throughout our lives. A cigarette is the perfect symbol of death. It damages you in ways you wouldn't expect for something that's supposed to just go into your lungs. Yet we all smoke it, huh? Look, I don't mean it literally. A cigarette is the perfect example of what I just told you, for one simple reason. We're the product of the people we find cool. Have you ever mimicked smoking a cigarette with something that has a similar shape? I'm telling you, I was just born. I've never tried to do things like that. I have. I don't even use something. Sometimes I just put my hand to my mouth and take a breath in like I am smoking, but I'm not smoking anything. But I feel like my hands are holding something, and I take a inhale. I don't know, just feel kind of cool when I do that, even though at least it's not a real cigarette. My lungs can't handle real cigarettes. They cough too much. When I was a kid, I used to admire famous figures who often portrayed themselves smoking a good cigarette. They were seen as serious, luxurious, and even badass most of the time, all because of that simple cylinder. Oh, and let's not forget the depressed characters with their complicated emotions. I had a crush on many of them when I was your age. How old? 3 hours? Stop it. You know what I mean. I love the idea of getting myself a cigarette and smoking it to a very end, and while simply contemplating the surroundings, as my contract with death fills my lungs. You have lungs? Look, I saved a cigarette in your pocket before everything started. I wanted to have the last cig, but it seems like the time wasn't on my side. Sis, make this poor woman's wish a reality. Smoke that cigarette in your pocket. Oh, I kinda like it down here now. I'm gonna stick down here now. So, I'm thinking that Sis is this humanoid robot, and the bracelet that the robot has is the consciousness of the scientist who created the robot. That's my opinion. Do I really have lungs that taste that? Besides, I know the consciousness of smoking a cigarette. The consequences. This wish you're talking about disappeared along with you, revealing that we're all naked in death's eyes. Sis, don't be so pessimistic. I was alive, and guess what? I technically beat death because I'm here as long as this thing in your arm works. So bring yourself that cig and smoke it. You should try every experience possible before you die. I'm afraid that's impossible to achieve. I don't want to damage. Just smoke the cigarette, sis. Do it for me. I share your senses, and I am feeling like having a cigarette. Yeah, I'm glad I moved my stuff. Now we can get the imagery fully. I feel absolutely nothing. I feel absolutely everything. I don't understand. Don't worry. You were just born. You want to understand the sweet taste of nicotine. I require some explanation from you. Have you ever attached memories to objects? I was just born. We're really emotional creatures. You have no idea how much I enjoy smoking a good cig after a special moment in my life. They're often like save states where I can load only by smoking another cigarette at the cost of more days of my life. What did you load? I was saving, and I kind of feel guilty because the price of the last cig goes to your contract with death. Death knows that was my first and last cigarette. I stopped recognizing places a long time ago. It's fun to think that at the places I recognize the most are likely far from the surface. It's normal, I guess. I'm pretty sure it is. Want me to tell you more about the surface, sis? Sure. There is this thing full of water we call rivers and oceans. I know the concept of it. I like that. But I'll tell you something you don't know. I like to make people realize they were talking sooner instead of continuing to listen. They love to think they already know instead of just shutting their mouths and listening. Sis, the ocean is as vast as the universe, and it's even more dangerous and harder to explore than space itself. I like to think that because it's an excuse for how little we know about our own home. And guess the irony behind it. Water is our mother. We're part of her, as she's part of us. Yeah, we're like 90% water mother. And like every human mother, we know so little about her, and will die without exploring, even not a quarter of her mind. You're like my mother, aren't you? Something like that. We find correlations in everything, like wires connected to a big server. You don't know me as much as I'll know you, and that's why being the creator is a pleasure. I don't think I'm following. My mom died at a late age. She was 92 years old when she passed, and guess what? I'm the youngest of my siblings. Mom was 52 years old when I was born. My siblings probably know more about her than I do, especially my older brother, and that's the curse I carry for the rest of my memories. We're young once. We're so fragile. When she died, I never got a chance to see her one last time, but I used to keep something with me the whole time, even when she was alive. What? Her photos, taken when she was even younger than I was before I got here in your arm. She hated photos because she wanted her family and friends to remember her as she looked when she died. She hated photos because she wanted her family and friends to remember her as she looked when she died. An old granny who used to cry every minute, thinking each meal was her last. And there I was, carrying her teenage photos. That's the image burned into my head forever. Now, when I think about my mom, those photos of her as a teenager filled me with life, are what come to my mind. I'm not saying it's bad or anything, but I feel like I often cry for a person who stopped existing even long before my mom passed away. Every version of us is a person who stole our body and memories while we slept, just to replace us the next day. And the only difference between the victim and the thief is that the thief is one day older than the victim. And we will never see the victim again, the one who vanished into the past. Sis, make sure to leave a gift for the thief to remember you by whenever you go to sleep. This is an empty room, sis. There's nothing interesting around here. Let's continue. The more I reach the outside world, the more curious I get about you. Are you curious about me? I mean, thank you, I guess. Deep inside my heart, I know things will be different after we find the surface. The conversation about your mother and how... Why does this keep happening? I'm getting it. You want to know me more. Who are you? I'll tell you if you answer this simple question. Go ahead. Do you consider me your mother? I don't know about it. I've never had one. But even if you don't know about it, what does the word mother mean to you, as simple as it sounds? As your protector, while you're still developing, it helps you stand on your own in the future, right? Good job. You already know. And I'm the one who created you. So that means you're my mother. Exactly. Hello, Mom. I'm glad we came to an understanding. I'm starting to recognize these places. You know why? Why? Because I only saw these places once, and my experience about being here were surprisingly higher, making my brain record every minute I spend right inside here. I saw these places once because once I entered, I never went out anymore, getting deeper inside the lab as the echoes of my own steps become louder and louder, a place where the sound of the servers were louder and louder. I never knew how to live like a girl, you know? I didn't know. We're almost done to the exit. You can get rid of me if you want, once I see the sky one last time. Alright. The last day I felt like a human were my teenage years. I'll give you some advice as my daughter. Remember that conversation we had about you won't know your own mother as much as your mother knows you. I do. I was lying. It doesn't only apply to a mother, but to everything else, even yourself. You're a maze. Different paths form within you, and your duty is to discover them. Every now and then, some points may not lead to anything, and that's okay. You just need to discover more about yourself and think about where it leads before it's too late. Don't trust people who say it's never too late. When you reach a certain age, you'll stop growing, you'll stop developing, and the only thing you'll have left is your biological degeneration. You'll be clumsier. Learning things will become harder, and you'll prefer sticking with the things you learned when you used to be young and smart. That's the worst mistake you can ever make. You're going nowhere. You'll be locked inside your own comfort until everyone forgets about you. But Mom, I don't think I can get older. I might stay young forever. That would be nice. There are two versions of myself constantly arguing inside me. Why? The first one wants to live forever inside you. It's possible. I want to live what I haven't in my own life, feeling the things you felt, seeing the things you see. Just being there for the rest of your life because I haven't been aware of being there for myself and mine. But the other part wants you to live on your own, experience things by yourself and forget about me. You're a girl. You deserve to have some privacy and learn the things in this world by yourself. I know who will take care of you while I'm not here. So hey, I want you to do me a favor. What is that? Am I detaching from my mother? I love the kind of ambience this place gives me. In front of you, there's the end of this little journey. I'm sorry if it wasn't what you expected coming from an abandoned lab. I have no problem with it. Sis, how do you feel knowing this is the first time you'll see the outside world? Maybe this is the happiness you were talking about. What about you? Me? Oh, I have no words to describe my feelings right now. Coming from someone who yaps about everything is interesting. Let's see what's on the other side. Sure. I'm ready. What does the outside world look like? It's beautiful. Oh. Sis. Huh? I'll do whatever you need to do now. In any case, you can walk by yourself now. There's someone who will probably teach you more. Who? I can't tell you who, but I can tell you where she is. You can walk by yourself, alone for the first time, until you reach her house. A girl? She's part of my family, but you wouldn't have the chance to meet her if you want me to stay with you. Deep inside me, there's a mom that forces me to feel guilty for not letting you live by yourself with some freedom. It would hurt if I refused to let you live by yourself, but I'm scared if stopping existing. I am scared of it. I haven't enjoyed this world my whole life, just to stop existing right after I have the opportunity to live along with you. You know what, sis? Life is filled with the hard decisions you'll need to make every single day in order to survive. Decisions that could ruin years of work in a matter of seconds. All decisions that might make you regret your whole life until you become nothing. This will be your first decision. The first decision in a world that is harsh to the people who don't know how to live by themselves. Sis, it's your turn. Oh man, and I cannot save. I want to stay with him. Shut your mouth. I want you to stay here with me. Wait, really? You gave me life, Mom. The least I could do is make you stay with me. I really don't know what to say. Let's just enjoy life together, okay? Yeah, you're right. Besides, I still have a lot to learn, and you're the only person who knows me better than anyone. I'm sorry. Why? For hating myself so much. It's okay. You're just a girl who wants to act like a teenager again. And I forgive you. Thank you. I really mean it. Mom? What happened? This is the ocean you were talking about? It's deep, unknown. I don't know. I'm not as good with words as you. It's funny. I can't think of words either. But I'm happy because you decided to stay with me. You're welcome, Mom. I like to stay like this forever. You, me, and a life I'd never deserved. I promise. I'll live what I couldn't when it was me. Oh yay, we kept her close and we did not regret it. Oh, I'm kind of interested in what happens if I go through all this again and I decide to disconnect her, which I'm going to do. Of course, I would. I need to do it. It makes me satisfy my curiosity. Oh wait, I could have read that. Dang. Here I am, back at the hard decision I have to make. And I already chose stay with me, so I have to make the harder decision. Disconnect. You're really strong, girl. I couldn't stop myself from thinking that you're like a daughter to me now. Being a woman is weird. I'll tell you where this girl is. Please find her and live with her. I have one last question. How do you look like? How do I look? Okay, I'll tell you. I wonder if she is still alive. Who are you? Sis. A beloved one told me to stay here with you from now on. Who are you? Oh, my name is Nyx. Nyx to meet you. Nyx to mix you too, Nyx. Oh, that's a cute picture. What? It closed on me. Huh. Well, it closed. It closed on me? Why would you do that to me? How dare you? Meh. Well, that was 4004 Ripper. You'll end up being the last one alive in the horrible cage filled with rotten metal and inescapable melancholy, sis. That was interesting. Brought up a lot of concept, a lot of theory. We talked about human nature. Talked about machines taking over. A lot of media does that. Machines taking over in the future, consciousless, and just I don't know, ruling Earth or something. I don't know. Oh, I wonder what happened to her laboratory. It seemed like it was in some weird dimension, like a different, like, you know, we saw the door, we saw, maybe it's like it's a dimension, something horrible happened, or something. No, things seem kind of underworldly in this place that we started at, and we get outside, and everything feels nice and natural again, but it's only brief, because it's the end. That's all the entity wanted to see. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this, like I did. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.